We're gonna do a song that you never heard before. The volume.
Hear the drummer get wicked. Here we go again.
And it's Kennedy, my brother from another mother.
What's good?
And man, this is one of the things that I think that you and I talk about that's very interesting here. Let me make some quick adjustments here. So, one of the things that I think that's interesting, I just had a studio session with the big homie, the Fresh Shake boss, my dude Ben. And one of the things that I think that's interesting is that he had this idea of just kind of doing a project though, right? And he was like, yeah, he said, I don't know that I'm necessarily trying to be a rapper per se, but I had this idea for these songs and even thought so much that one day he would go and try to formally record something though, right? And so I've been telling him a while. I'm like, yo, you could, feel free to pull on up. And then when he finally pulled on up, we started working on a song, and then one song kind of turned into two songs turned into 5 songs now. And I think one of the things that I kind of explained to him beforehand, and I tell people this all the time. I said, bro, I'm gonna tell you this though, man. As happy as you've been, that anything's made you right at any time you did this one thing, you've had this kind of accomplishment or whatever, and you got this joy out of. I said, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I said nothing compares to when you hear yourself for the first time sounding like radio great, when you hear it sounding like yo, this is what I sound like doing music, not listen to, right? And I said, and here's the great thing about it. The great thing about it is, yeah, it happens the first time, and the first time is just that. It's momentous because it's the first time, though, right? But I said, but the great thing about it is the high is that you can do it over and over and over. And as I said, so you can kind of get why it's not quite like the first time, it's like 99% or even better. You can come up with something that's even better than the first time, though, right? And so I was, man, and so I had a good laugh because he is in that mode today where we had a session, we recorded something, and he had let me hear the track. And I'm gonna be honest, since I'm bringing it up, I wasn't exactly feeling the beat at first. And he told me what he wanted to do to it. And just me wearing my engineering hat, though, bro, we kind of put it all together. And it came out like I after listening to the beat a few times, I enjoyed how what his content was complemented the beat, made me kind of like the beat a little bit more, though, man. But I was happy for him that when he walked out, it was like, yeah, we out here though, man. We this is and so yeah, bro. But he had that, and every time he experiences that, I'm getting better, But now the finished product though, bro, he got the high though, bro, and it's pretty cool though, man. I felt happy for him in that regards though, bro.
Yeah, that's always a good feeling when you can give somebody the satisfaction of what they're thinking about in their head.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Let's get that music going. We got some things to chat about, though, bro.
All right.
I don't know if the music going, but I'm gonna trust that it is. We got music.
The Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time. greatest podcast. The greatest podcast of all time.
Still got the music cue? Okay. I didn't know if you I couldn't tell if you had the music going though, bro. Hey, listen, if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe to the Slash Brothers YouTube and Facebook pages and our TikTok page. We are live on both platforms at the same time. Whenever you click on the notification, you click on the bell, you get the heads up whenever your boys and Miss doing their thing. Ace Kennedy. That was a weird one. They made some little changes on out here on the stream yard though, man. It kind of
Yeah,
got us
there was a
moving a little different.
it is, but it also there was a they had a conference about it, and I signed up. I thought I signed up for it because I wanted to know all the little things and bells and whistles that they had coming with it, but I guess I didn't get the notification about it. But yeah. Oh,
And we missed last week pod, so it's like it could have been a took effect. We didn't get a chance to catch up though, man. Lot been going on though, man. I know that let me ask you this though, bro. I think one of the things that was kind of interesting is that usually in the NFL there's that what is that? They call it like the Black Monday or something like that. Oh, I caught you on late though, boy. Golly. But they have that usually going toward the end of the season where coaches who are going to be fired actually get fired, though, man. And so I thought that what was interesting though, man, is that the boy Brian Daboll got fired out there though, man, for the Giants. Hey, listen, I gotta ask you now, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, the bear in me is like, I'm happy. Not happy he got fired, but I'm saying like that was his fourth straight comeback loss. And granted, I don't think this particular week was his bad because Dart got hurt. When Dart got hurt, that changed the momentum of the game. The Bears came back and won. That boy Caleb Williams had his Vince Young moment, running in the end zone to seal the victory. So, like I said, the bear in me is happy that we won, but I'm never happy about people losing their job. You know what I'm saying? Especially, me, when it comes to a team sport like that, there are more people involved besides the head coach. Now, you're supposed to have people in place and prepared and all this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, man, like your football players know what's on the line, bro. Y'all was up going into the fourth quarter and y'all couldn't stop them from scoring. Like, really? Like, that's the coach ain't on the field, bro. So
I'm always that's an interesting thing though, right? Because I think that sometimes I'll say that, right? And I think that your response typically is like, because we're usually player centric. I think that sometimes I'll admit that the coach ain't the one that's playing. You still got to execute, and then you will say, "Well, it's on the coaches to make sure that the players are ready to execute." Though, right?
No, that's reverse, sir. You're the one that's always talking
Maybe
about
maybe.
Yeah, I'm the one that says I'm a player's person, and you are always like the coach is supposed to have them. I'm the one that be saying,
okay, so you're right. So with that being said, I said it weren't. With that being said, from that for that same reason, then I would go along with him being fired though, bro. Here's the reason why I would go along with it. Okay, so all right, so Brian Daboll was basically brought there to kind of be the quarterback whisperer for Daniel Jones, right? And so he was that. People said that he was that for Allen out there for Josh Allen out in Buffalo, right? So he got there, and Daniel Jones was never quite what I thought that people that I didn't think that he warranted the high draft pick that they did for him though, right? And so when they actually under his watched Daniel Jones just play mid, and then you overpaid him to keep him after he threw for 15 touchdowns, right? And so then it's like, all right, well, cool. You traded him after he played bad, right? And then you brought in the kid. You brought in Jackson Dart. And so my thing is that Jackson Dart, well, let's say you brought in Russell, right? Okay, well, cool. Russell is kind of, at this point in his career, kind of like that bridge quarterback, though, right? And so then I thought when you go to Jackson Dart, maybe that would have bought him some more time. And bro, I think that what I believe is hurting him more than how trash they've been playing is how well Daniel Jones is actually playing for the Colts. It's like, well, damn, if you're the quarterback guru like that, like you did with Josh Allen, then why the hell is Daniel Jones looking so stellar without your tutelage, bro? And so it to me makes me think, well, yeah, you might know how to guide a great quarterback into that next level, but you're not the kind of guy that can take a young quarterback and take him to this next level to me. And so my thing is that if they gave him a chance to do that with Daniel Jones and it didn't work out, and now it's like, well, it's not looking like it's so great with Jackson Dart. And not granted, he got hurt. But I mean, they're not exactly world beaters with him either. And so I just thought that in the end, I just thought that they looked at it and said, hey, it's about time that we just go ahead and move on, bro.
Here's the thing.
I'm not mad at it.
I'm okay with the organization moving on for him. What I'm saying though, if I'm a player, I don't need a coach to motivate me to want to win the game.
That's fair. I can listen.
My thing, what I'm saying is, as the competitor in me, I don't need the coach. We played in how many NFL games by now, and you know that the game is on the line, and you know that the Bears is coming down to try to win, and I gotta motivate you to stop him from winning as a professional athlete. Are you kidding me? No.
I can see that. That's a very fair thing to say. But I've
What I'm
also seen players who said, listen, I went and gave my all because I didn't want to disappoint my coach. Like there were guys who legit would say no for my coach. I would run through walls for him though, right?
But Charles,
And
at
so
a point, you play right now. You play basketball right now, right? What
yeah,
I'm saying is, if all game, number 12 has been cooking, right? Number 12 been cooking. It's 2 minutes left in the game. It's a minute left in the game, 59 seconds, whatever you want to call it. Y'all are down or y'all are up in the game. They got this play about to run, and it's going to number 12. Why does your coach have to tell you that number 12 finna cook y'all when he been cooking y'all all 3 quarters? That doesn't make any sense to me.
for basketball purposes, that does make that for basketball purpose that is necessary. You'd want to make sure that just so that we're all on the same page, because there are fewer people on a basketball court than there are players on a football field. So I understand for basketball, you're right,
Right.
right.
But
But I
even
think
in this
for
particular,
football,
go ahead.
for football, because you have so many more guys out there, I think that you just have to make sure that all of the guys collectively are on the same page. That's all.
Understood. But even still, y'all have defensive huddles, y'all have all this stuff. What I'm saying is, up until this point, Caleb Williams has been running all over you. Like y'all Caleb is putting the Bears on his back right now to even get to this point. So I'm saying, like, how if that's the case, you don't know what's finna happen. What I'm saying is, no coach can motivate you enough to want, the game is on the line. You know how much time is left. You and that's what I'm saying. Why I said this particular time, like this game, I get it was the straw to break the camel's back, but I'm just saying the Bears, the way they came back, bro, it was the Bears magic just all over the field.
I would shoot him a little bail, but it's happened a couple times now, right? And I think that that's where I look at it. Like it's like I don't. I'm but I don't see that they are getting any better. And they're only going to get worse though, right? And I just don't think that I'm not I'm with you, man. There are certain people that I hate to necessarily say, oh yeah, they got fired and I was glad. But there are a couple of people who I would be glad to see them get fired, right?
Like who?
Um Well, I'm not talking about like sports wise, but I'm just saying in
Oh,
general,
okay.
they're just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in general, there are people who I wouldn't be mad if they got fired, right? But I think that with all things considered though, bro, um, I'm not mad at it though either though, man. They just didn't. I just don't think that they were. I don't think that they were turning around. Like if they would have, and I thought that them going to Jackson Dart was his saving grace to say, let me at least get a chance to finish the whole season with him. But I'm not that mad at it though, bro. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Jackson Dart's been looking good, and I do think that the one silver lining with this is that he does. It's weird. They have played better with Russ, and I don't think I try not to say Russ is washed, but Jackson Dart has came in and he has gave them the spark. So from that regards, though, man, I think you at least know who's your guy going forward,
Yeah, but
right?
I watched Russ come in. I watched Russ come in, and Russ wasn't like he wasn't bad. People weren't catching the ball. Like
Yeah,
people, when I throw you the ball, or if I'm throwing you a screen or whatever, and they offensive line was looking like Texas Longhorns offensive line in the beginning of the season. So it's like Russ was doing everything he was supposed to do. But if I throw you the ball and you don't catch it, that ain't on Russ. I mean, I
see,
understand certain throws, like if I throw it behind you or something like that. But if the ball hits your hands and this is what can get us the first down and you drop it, nah, bro, that ain't on Russ.
yeah, I agree. Let me ask you this though. So one of the other things that happened here over the weekend is that your president and Cheetos, the orange felon, was at the Washington game. And I thought that it was kind of interesting that he was there in lieu of there was a report that was basically saying that he would like for the new stadium in Washington or that they're building it in Maryland to be named after him. Which I mean, with all things considered, if we're just saying, hey, what ask like they should just name the stadium also after one of us. Like if they named it Charles Venus Field or Ace Kennedy Field, that would be pretty dope. Ace Kennedy Stadium, they kind of got a ring to it. But anywho though, man, he was there. Uh got booed out there though, right?
Mm.
And they got walked out there. I mean, Detroit kind of did their thing with them, beat them pretty decisively though, bro. Give me your thoughts on the whole ordeal, man.
Well, first of all, the Commanders is my dad's team. So and growing up, I will say that Washington was my team too. Just because, that was my dad. And but anyway, answer your question. He knew before the game even started that Detroit was gonna run all over them because unfortunately, McDaniel, what's his name? Oh my god.
Daniels is hurt. McLaurin is hurt.
Yeah, but McDaniel's being hurt is a big blow. He's just having a rough season with injuries, and Mariota just hasn't looked great. So and then Detroit, they have a squad. So from that aspect, it was a pretty normal what you thought was gonna happen. Now, as far as the actual extra events, I understand from 47, 44, 45, 47 why he would want them to name the stadium after him. As a president, you want to leave your mark as much as you possibly can. So I get that. I'm not shooting him no bail, but I'm just saying I understand why you would want to do that. Um Now, what ties you have to the stadium? None. Like no, no. But anyway, the booing. Bruh, I don't know if that plexiglass shielded what he was able to hear, but he kept that straight face though. He kept the brave face. He kept smiling and waving but yeah, he brought the country together. I can say that cuz the Lions fans and the Commanders was both booing. Everybody was booing.
But I think that so there is some kind of precedent, right? Like uh 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 the Redskins used to play in RFK Stadium, right? So I
Okay.
guess he has some precedent there, though, man. and that's where the old RFK. So I believe they play in FedEx Field now, and I've seen that stadium. We actually have to drive by that to get to Nico's grandmother's house though, man. And then they stayed in the old RFK. That's where a lot of the original Redskin fans. They're demolishing that one, and they're basically saying that they're expecting for it to be open late 2026. But I think that it's interesting though, man, because I'm talking about while he's up there. I mean, you see them people are giving it to him though, bro. And listen, I think that for somebody who puts a premium on being liked and being accepted the way he does, I know for sure, even at his 80-year-old age, that his ego was bruised because I just think that he probably went in there thinking like, nah, they about to love me though, man. And so, I mean, to see him just out there getting booed and being on national TV where you hearing the boos though, bro, and you see people flipping him the bird though, man. I said, Lord, get this man out of here though, bro.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
can take this. He takes it though, man. Look, I'm not gonna lie. He takes it well up front, and then behind the scenes, he might kind of do his own thing or whatever, though, man. But keeps a straight face throughout it all, though, bro.
yeah. He keeps a straight face, and like I said, maybe he thought they was, how Lou Dort, when Lou Dort come on there, they be like, Lou. Maybe he thought
he thought Lou Dort was there, huh?
he thought Lou Dort was there, bro. Something, because Lou Dort ain't
Oh my
playing right now for the
god.
Thunder because he hurt. So maybe he thought that they thought that he, that Lou Dort was up in there with him. So I don't know.
I don't, and this is my thing. I think that what's interesting is that I think that one of the things that I do find very interesting though, right, is historically, right, the NFL just hasn't ever really rocked with him. And so I think that it is just kind of funny because he wanted to buy an NFL team way back in the day, and I remember that, when it comes to the NFL, it's not as simple as you kind of have to go through a board, and basically all of the owners essentially have to approve of your buying of a franchise, so right? And the
Yeah,
selling of it though, right? And so I think that it's interesting though that they for years was never they turned him down at like a couple of times. And so I do find it funny that some of those same owners or families of the owners were really kind of bending over backwards when he became president, especially when it came like to the Colin Kaepernick and kneeling and the flag and all these other things, though, bro. I think that it's still kind of crazy to me how easily they bend the knee toward him when historically they've never really rocked with him like that, though, bro. So it's just crazy to me that maybe him being president is different from him just being another supposed billionaire, though, man. So yeah, real crazy though.
yeah. All right, I just got a
Uh,
notification that Texas is in the top 10 now for the college playoff, but I can't find the bracket now in order to see it. But anyway, yeah, that had popped up that Texas is now in the top 10.
okay, I do see the. I do see that yeah, I see it on Bleacher Report. They reported it here. Texas is in there. Hey, listen, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you, man. It's like if I'm trying to be unbiased, though, man.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, bro, we do look like we can win a national championship. And then sometimes we look like we could barely beat Florida. Like sometimes we look like we are who we are, right? And that makes it when I think that yeah, we're top 10, I think it's good for the BCS rankings. I'm always down to see us ranked as high as we can. But if I'm honest, I like the progression that we've been making. Like it's no small thing that we beat Vandy and Vandy was on the road. I appreciate that. But then there's part of me thinks like, well, how we beat Vandy, and we were up on them pretty good for a while, and then kind of struggle to block for the boy when we played against Florida. Like, so
But
it's
it's
like,
been progressions. It's been progressions the whole season though, and so that's why I told you like a lot of people have been down on Arch uh for a minute, and I was like, listen, the Florida game, the game we lost, is the game that showed me that Arch was making strides, because when we were down and out, Arch was still out there playing and he was out there balling. Again, he ain't had nobody to block for him, so he was running for his life. But I'm just saying, you take that into we win in overtime with Kentucky, we win in overtime with Mississippi State, and then we turn around and beat Vandy. So it's gonna be the true test this weekend when we play Georgia.
Yeah, and like I said, we haven't played them traditionally well, like I said, but let me ask you this though. In that top 10, just since we're on that though,
Yeah.
the top 10, number 1, Ohio, number 2, Indiana, number 3, Texas A&M, number 4, Alabama, number 5, Georgia, number 6, Texas Tech, number 7, Ole Miss, number 8, Oregon, number 9, Notre Dame, number 10, Texas, though, bro. What do you think about that list?
Um, Ole Miss, they only lost one, right?
Yeah.
See, that's I then I can understand that because I mean, shoot, Oklahoma had a chance to beat them and let it ride. So I'm okay with that list. I don't know who Ohio State has played all season. But I mean, they undefeated. So
Yeah.
I,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
see,
No, I think
I'm gonna be honest. I don't necessarily care about the rankings until the season is over. Like when people was like, "Oh, Texas is number one in the beginning of the season," like I'm like, I don't care about that. Like because
yeah.
that doesn't mean anything to me because we ain't played nobody and we got a new quarterback.
Well, let me tell you, this is the one thing I think that when we talking about Ohio State,
Mm-hmm.
I think that the interesting thing about Ohio State is when I've seen them play,
Yeah.
they've usually played teams pretty well. Like I think that they handle biz. And listen, I've always been one that, and I think I've said it. I think that the Big Ten has always been very top heavy. And when I say top heavy, I mean like they top heavy. You know what it is? To me, the Big Ten is the perfect example of when you see a girl and she top heavy and she ain't got no cakes. The cakes is on. She is shaped like a pea.
Mm-hmm.
No cakes. That is the Big Ten. The Big Ten is always a top heavy girl with no cakes, right? Very top heavy, nothing at the bottom. And that is the Big Ten now. It's Ohio State, and there's nobody else. And maybe Michigan is kind of cool. I never put very much stock into Penn State. But I mean, it's Ohio State and nobody else. Very top heavy. But I mean, when you look at it, I mean, let's just be honest with you though, right? So when I'm looking back at their wins, right? They let's see here. They started off with, oh my gosh, I just had them on pulled on up. Okay, so they're about to play UCLA coming up Saturday, and I expect for them to probably score like 50 on them.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Purdue like they typically always do. They beat Penn State like they typically always do. They didn't wash Wisconsin, who they're probably going to get rid of their coach because they look weird. They beat Illinois. They beat Minnesota. They put 42 up on them. They beat Washington. They played Ohio. They played Grambling, put up 70 on Grambling. And then listen. They played Texas, and that's the game where it was 14-7.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like so that's what I'm saying. Like outside of us, right? Everybody else, I think that they've done what they supposed to do to their competition. But I mean, it's been like that to me for probably the last like 5 or 6 years for Ohio State, where yeah, there are some times I know that Michigan did win that national championship. But I guess I don't know, man. I've never been a very Big Ten guy, even though I've liked a lot of players from the Big Ten. I've never thought that their teams were like that.
Yeah.
They
Well,
top
I mean,
heavy though.
we'll see. We'll see when the playoffs hit, though. And that's what I'm saying. Like, look, just let us get in there. You know what I'm saying? I think definitely Archer's returning next year, bro. So I think he's gonna look the part that people wanted him to look like this year. And also our young line is gonna grow up. So yeah, I'm not washing this out like we just can't continue to progress because I think we can. I think if we beat Georgia, that's going to be a big boost for us. And then, of course, I'm gonna be concerned. I mean, we just got to win out. We need to win out because I mean, that's just the important part.
I know some people got my number on speed dial for if for some reason if Georgia beats Texas, though, bro.
Yeah,
I know it. There
my
are people who I don't even think are UGA fans that will call me just because they might be casual UGA fans, though, bro.
yeah. No, my cousin's group is gonna be lit because they all live in Georgia. They live in Augusta.
Mm.
So some of them are Alabama fans and some of them are Georgia fans. So they already they be waiting. Because last year my brother got me tied into a bet about if we lost, we had to put the Georgia Bulldog symbol up on our page for a whole week or some junk. I was like, bro, don't ever put me involved in none of your mess because I wasn't here for it at all. And yes, we ended up losing twice last year. So
Mm.
yeah, what else we got, bro?
Hey, so listen, man. Listen, bro. I gotta ask you this, man. One of the things that's crazy is that your boy, and I'm saying your boy loosely, of course, Nico, then got fired, bro. What we doing? What are we doing with Nico, bro?
Okay. Here's the let me say this first before I give my 2 cents. Until Nico speaks out for himself and I hear from his lips that it wasn't his idea to trade Luca, right? Then I'm gonna say what everybody else is not saying. It is his fault. It is Nico's
Mm.
fault. Because here's the thing: the way my brain is telling me that it happened is him and Rob Pelinka started talking, and it was his idea, and then he had to go convince the owners why it was a good idea. I don't think the owners told him get this deal done in the middle of the night. I think I really think him and Rob Pelinka was sitting down, chilling, doing their thing. You know what I'm saying? And they was talking and kind of just brought it up. Was like, you know what? And then he brought it to the owners. They had to sign off on it, but it was
What
his
made you? Well, now, what makes you? Since he's never said that,
idea.
what makes you say that? What makes you feel like that happened that way?
Because I'm going again. You know me. I'm a person who believes in what people say. The way Rob Pelinka talked about it was that this was they had a conversation over coffee, and then that's how the ball got rolling. So to me, it wasn't. He never said that Nico came to me because the owners hit him up. Right? It was them two chilling, talking, having coffee, and then everything sparked from there. The reason why it's on Nico is because it was your idea.
Yeah.
I understand that the
So
owners had to sign off, but it was your idea, and your idea did not work out.
there was a theory, right? There was a theory that uh that the that the owner of the Mavs who
Mhm.
bought the team from Mark Cuban wanted to put a casino. They bought the team. Sure, they wanted to buy the team, right? But the big attraction, but they want to build a casino, build a stadium, and put a casino in the stadium, right? And the NFL, the NBA folks or the state was like, "Nah, we ain't doing that, right? We ain't doing the casinos like that." So they would say, so the theory is, and this is probably a conspiracy more than that. They were basically saying, well, if y'all don't let us do it, then we'll relocate the team to Las Vegas, right?
Mhm.
They already got the Las Vegas Aces. We'll relocate the Mavs out there. And so one of the theories behind that is that the owners were basically using that as an opportunity for the Mavs to basically tank without Luca. And then they basically said, hey, we're gonna go ahead, and dwindle everything down and get them to relocate on over all together to Vegas, though, bro. So that was a theory that they put out there. But trading Luca was just the owners getting back at the basically the whoever in Dallas didn't approve for them to do the stadium there, though, man. But that's one thing.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you.
I was gonna say the other theory that I heard. Now, if this again, until I hear it, but this is the other one I heard was that the owners said they were not going to they were not going to pay Luca, and so that's why they did it in the middle of the night, and that's why he told Nico to get it done. So if that's the case, again, if it's the owner's idea and they fired him because he's the face of it, they wrong. But until I hear that, and until Nico and I don't know if he had to sign an NDA or whatever as part of his severance or what. But if not, and if he get to say his piece and he like, man, listen, I'm finna tell y'all what really happened. And
I
and,
don't
and
think
then
he will because if he does that, I don't think nobody would rock with him no more, right? Because out of
who gonna
fear
rock
that if
with him
they
now
fire
though?
him,
What's
huh?
who's rocking with him now anyway though? because
somebody will. So, like somebody's going to give him an opportunity because listen, with all things equal, he has put together some pretty good rosters. He's made some, to me, he's made some legitimate NBA moves that I think kind of shows that he knows what he's doing. This is what I think. This is what I think. I think that what makes this look bad for him at the moment is that you had Luca and you paired him up with Kyrie. Kyrie's hurt, but then now you had Anthony Davis, and you thought, oh, Anthony Davis, Kyrie, we still are there, and we're adding Cooper Flag in, and that's even icing on the cake.
it
And a
goes
lot of
beyond that.
people,
Goes beyond that.
well,
He
well,
also
well,
brought
listen,
it.
even
He also brought in Clay Thompson.
well, he brought in Clay Thompson as well, which, by the way, we'll talk about that maybe even on another pod. But this is what I say. I'm saying that to say this, all right? I'm saying that it's making him look bad that Luca came back in shape now out in LA and is doing his thing, right? He's been doing his thing very well, right?
Look,
Now maybe Luca's also motivated by the rumors behind that, him always coming back in shape and everything. Sure, I never saw Luca cut up like he is now or in the offseason for the Mavs. So I think that that's a legitimate thing as far as why they felt like they didn't want to pay him if they thought long term. But listen, it makes him look even worse that Luca is hooping, but also that AD got hurt again. So it's like, well, okay, let's say you want to trade Luca. All right, yeah, AD was healthy then, but everybody knows AD has a history of always being injured. So when you traded him for a guy who's always injured, and then boom, he gets injured right on time, though, man. He gets, and now everybody who you brought out there to hoop with after this Luka trade is gone. Like they're hurt. Clay isn't hooping like that because I don't think he get them in. And there's no way. By the way, what I was gonna say, I'm a big Clay fan, and I'm probably gonna sound biased. I don't think that Clay's washed. I just don't think that he's taking the same kind of shots, and I don't think he get the minutes. But I think with Clay with sufficient minutes will give you more points. I think that I just refuse to believe somebody who can shoot that good is just washed, though, bro.
I don't
But
know,
you
bro.
brought him there and he's not putting up the points. Cooper Flag is playing, and
Out
he's
of position.
doing what he is hooping on a sorry team right now, right? It's just all the moves just look like you can point the finger to him, and it's easy to fire him though, bro. Easy.
Yeah, because I mean, so the other theory, there's a picture floating around of the Mavs owner sitting courtside talking to a fan, and there's a picture, and he's basically telling the fan like, "Yeah, we messed up on the trade, and so we gonna do the fans right. We gonna take care of it." And that was how then Nico got fired the next day.
Hey, listen, but even with that said, though, right? Even with that said, I would like to think that Jason Kidd had to have been so this is my thing. I just don't understand how Jason Kidd is also getting the pass on this because I know that even if it was a owner's decision, he's the head coach. So even when you talk about the Luca getting traded, nobody ever really looked at Jason Kidd like, bro, like what happened? And
They
now
did.
that
They did. No,
Nico's
they
getting
did.
fired,
They
I
did.
don't remember people really grilling him that hard though,
They
bro.
did. No, they asked him. They asked who all knew about the trade, and it was Nico and it was Jason Kidd sitting next to him. Jason Kidd was sitting here like this, and he said, "I found out late in the deal because in the beginning there was only a couple of people that knew about the trade. They didn't ask Jason Kidd what he thought about it. They just told
Mm.
him you're gonna have to get on board with this. Like this is what's happening. That's what they told him. That he didn't have a say in let's trade Luca. That did have they definitely asked that question, bro.
Yeah. I think that it is interesting though, bro, because I usually when you talk about general managers and coaches are usually tied hand in hand. Usually, usually, right, if somebody's gonna get fired, it's one before the other. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, well, if you feel like usually the general managers and coaches, they make those kind of roster decisions together. So if you're going to fire one, you typically fire the other as well. I just think that it's a rare that I recall seeing that a general manager gets fired and the coach just stays, and that's just it. Like in basketball, it's like a perfect example of that, right? Is that if I'm not mistaken, I believe for the Nuggets, they fired the coach and the general manager,
No.
right?
That's
Uh,
different though. Why they did that for Denver? The difference, and I'm gonna give you another example why I say that. Denver, the reason why they fired both is because the owner didn't want to choose between the general manager and the coach because them two were bumping heads. That's what happened with them. Them two was getting into fights over personnel, and Russ, of course, was involved in conversations and stuff like that, which is the reason why Russ isn't there today. But when I say that what you're saying is true, normally they do fire the tandem. For instance, that's why people were mad that the Dolphins fired the general manager, but not the head coach.
yes.
But
Now, the only time I've seen that not happen, Sam Presti, of course. Like they're not going to fire Sam Presti.
they ain't firing Sam Preston. But
No.
the other thing is that with this was more because of the fan outrage. Like they still can't. For instance, Clay Thompson shot a shot backwards or something like that, and they was talking about fire Nico. Like everything is fire Nico, fire Nico. So if you remove him from the equation, now it's just the team making these mistakes. Like Nico ain't there to blame no more. You see what I'm saying? So that it was a
Yeah.
distraction more so than anything. Like people was coming in with they home fire Nico shirts and like like all of that stuff where they banning people from wearing Luca merch, and it just got ridiculous out there, bro. So it was more of a like, yo, we gotta quiet this down, bro.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, I'm not mad at it. The fact that Luca is hooping, and like I said, I thought that they felt like we couldn't just win a championship with Luca, bro, because we just couldn't. We didn't know what we were going to get with him every year. And the fact that Luca basically still came back to LA in the best shape anybody has seen him, though, bro. It's just it maybe Luca didn't respect him enough to want to do that, though, bro. But all I know is that like at the end of the day, these transactions all happen on your watch, though, man. And so for that reason, though, yeah, I mean, I
And
I
and
get it. It seemed like it was coming.
and AD came about 15 pounds heavier, bro. They said, nah, it ain't Luca, it's Dallas, bro.
Well, yeah, but see, I think that AD came 15 pounds heavier because he was playing center and wanted to bulk up a little bit more to take the which is center, power forward. Is there really a difference in the NBA these days? I never understood that. He never wanted to play center. And I never understood why that mattered because there's
Yeah,
not a
because
difference
they
now.
but they told him coming to Dallas he could play the four to what he wanted to play. That was the whole thing.
Yeah. Now I think this season though he was bulking up to play the five though.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, very interesting though, bro. Very. Listen, man, I wanted to ask you something though, bro. Seeing that I'm the rapper on the crew, I saw, man, that for the Grammys, uh, that the best rap album in 2026. Now the Grammys is going to be the ceremony is actually going to be on February the 1st, right? So we're talking about the calendar year, right? Before the Grammys, for the best rap album, you got the Clips, Let God Sort Them Out, Glorilla, Glorious, JID, God Does Like Ugly, Kendrick, GNX, Tyler the Creator, Chromacopia. Did they get it right on these?
I don't know what the last one you said was.
Tyler the Creator, Tyler the
Oh, okay. Oh,
Creator,
that was the title of the album.
Chromacopia.
No. They got it right. They got it right. All of those albums I've heard so much about throughout the year. So no, they got it right with the nominees.
I agree. I think that the interesting thing is that these are for the period that these albums came out. They are within the top 10 of the albums that I've listened to and have had on repeat that I've enjoyed, right? I think that the one thing that is interesting is that, like last year, Doechii did very well at the Grammys, right? I think the part that I was very that maybe I was that kind of threw me for a loop was that I thought for sure that Kendrick was a contender for last year, but then I guess maybe I'm wrong because if this is February of this year, or when, yeah, if it was February, They Not Like Us was 2025. No, was that 2024? So I thought that it was like an album that I thought that would have been one of the albums that would have been, like a last year contender though. So I think that that's where it's going to be an interesting
That was
thing
the song
because
that came out because the song came
yes.
out, but the album didn't come out until later.
So with that being said, I'm glad you clarified that, right? I think that with that being said, for me, right, I would say that the Clips album would win best rap album. But I think that Kendrick's They Not Like Us would likely win like song of the year or best song or whatever the individual is for that particular song, right? Record of the year or whatever they say for the song. I think that Kendrick would win that one because for one, when I compare both of those albums, I'm more so impressed by the writing on the Clips album, but I do respect that Kendrick is the more popular artist, and that he had the biggest song within that particular time period, though, man. So
Well,
I
I can
that's what
tell.
I'd like to see. I would like to see. I'm rooting for the Clips to win that, though.
Yeah, I can tell who the machine is behind because those artists were all big machine artists. But I am surprised Jordan Lucas didn't get a bid.
Well, the Clips. Wait a minute. Wait. Let me. The Clips didn't have the big machine because they left Def Jam and put this one out independently, though.
They did. They did. But they also strategically created drama around their album, which pushed them
Yes,
into okay. So I understand
I
exactly what
love their rollout. Their rollout was one of the best I've seen in quite some time.
right. But what I'm saying is right now, let's be honest. Who's the more popular artist? I'm saying popular. Joyner Lucas or the Clips?
Right now, this second, I would say the Clips.
Absolutely. That's why what I'm saying about the machine. So even
Right.
though when I say the machine, I'm not just saying the machine as in the label. I'm saying the machine as far as the machine to push you in
Yeah,
front.
that's fair.
So what I'm saying is Joyner Lucas's project was phenomenal. And I'm just saying I don't think he would have got the bid to be in that category. I don't even know if he was like the if we talk of basketball, I don't even know if he was the sixth man. You know what I'm saying? Like I just don't think
It
he
was one of those ones, though. Man, it was one, like I said, it was the Jordan Lucas. I would say, in terms of rap albums, it was one of the 10 albums, the 10 best ones I've listened to within that period. Now, it could very well be that, like some people don't submit their songs for Grammy contentions and everything like that and for consideration. So maybe that's what it is. I think that the one thing that people always still that I think, right, where I think that Jordan Lucas I think that the where Jordan Lucas to me falls short is that he is a great visual artist, probably one of the absolute best, though, right? And I think that one of the things that's just crazy to me, you used to think back in the day that you would have these records that would be like your big radio song or that would cross you over to radio. I don't know that I've heard that song from Jordan Lucas, right? And maybe this Clips album doesn't necessarily require it either. But man, the machine that they had behind it just made up for that, though, right?
yeah, but
And so it didn't have a radio, like I think a radio hit to it, but it was like that though.
yeah, but the Clips also performed with the live orchestra on TV for something. That's what
The
I'm
Louis
like.
Vuitton show.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like they're
No, I'm sorry. It was at
no. Yeah,
the Vatican. It was at the Vatican.
yeah. So what I'm saying is their fashion stuff helped to also do, because I'm thinking, right, with as visual as Joyner Lucas is, he should be performing either on like a BET Awards or a hip hop award. Like his show would probably be A1.
I think I think that he would be great performing. And listen, I think, and I would feel crazy saying this if he had has already did it, but I think that he would be great for Saturday Night Live, where he can be featured in the skits, but then also performing there because of the performances in his music videos. I think would directly translate to it. I think that that would be dope. And I think that he would be a great guest on like Jimmy Fallon, on some of the ones that have the night. I think that I listen. I like Jordan Lucas, and what's crazy about it is not that you forced him on me, but you made me pay more attention to him though, bro. And so it is interesting why he's not on there. But I think that with all things considered, is that he's not as popular. Well, let me think about that. JID is nominated.
But
And
that's the
listen,
machine though.
I didn't think he had the machine though. I didn't think JID had the machine. He signed to Dreamville, but I don't think that he has the machine because I still think that people look at him like he's J. Cole's artist and not as his own individual entity, though, right? I don't think that people like this. I don't think that people look at him the way that everybody looked at 50 Cent, where you knew he was signed to Eminem, but he was still separate from Eminem. I don't think that people have been able to separate him from J. Cole just yet, though, bro.
Right. But the
But his
difference is,
album was phenomenal, though.
I get it. But the difference is J. Cole's not dropping right now. So he has a time to shine.
That's true. But even then, when 50 was dropping Get Rich, Eminem wasn't dropping at the same time. So he had the same time to shine. I just think that people just for some reason though, I don't think that people
See,
and
to me, the comparison to that would be, in my brain anyway, is the reason why Schoolboy Q never really picked up like that is because there was Kendrick.
well, I think Schoolboy Q fell back for personal reasons though.
I mean, I get the
Yeah.
later half of it, but I'm just saying, like, why he didn't pop as hard though is because, like, it's almost like what you're saying with JID, right? It's like you still Cole is still, that shadow is still there. So I don't know. I just feel like more people talked about this JID because I heard them bring it up on the Breakfast Club several times.
It's dope. It's real dope, man. I think that the part that I like about it is it's like I guess that it's in the category because it belongs in the category. Like as weird as that sounds, what I enjoyed about it is the rapping, right?
Mhm.
Like let alone the fact that you got the production. I think that of all of these albums, right? I think that I enjoyed just the rapping on, even if you say the Glorilla, right? Like the Glorilla album was pretty dope. And I thought that it was one of those ones where I enjoyed her raps, right? And it's very warranted that she's on the list though, man. So nah, it's fired over. It's a dope list though, man. And like I said, I wish that there was a way that maybe all of these folks could in some way, get a little bit, but I just think that like I said, they said Kendrick Lamar leads this with nine nominations this year. So if he didn't win best rap one, but he won for something else, I wouldn't be mad at that, considering that he's actually featured on this album still, though, bro.
Yeah.
It does make Def Jam look foolish, though, that they allowed them to walk. They bought themselves out, but now you allow them to walk. They had this cultural phenomenon that you could have helped them and really had the machine behind them, right? And then it's like I think that now you miss the opportunity to say, hey, we have a Def Jam artist that's winning this Grammy though, bro. So they dropped that ball to me though, man. So I'm rooting for the Clips. It's an album that I keep in rotation though, and all of these albums that are listed here, with the exception of the Tyler, and I'm getting more into Tyler, right? But there are people who I listen to.
Tyler, the creator, showed out on that Outkast tribute, bro.
Yes, absolutely. And like it took me a little. You know what it is? I think that I didn't like Tyler from 5 years ago. Like the kid Tyler, he was still very young.
Did I
And
tell you I met him?
No.
Yeah. So we meant to be performed. We performed at the where the horses and stuff be the it's the casino, but they do the horse races and stuff like that. Anyway, we performed out there, and Tyler, the creator, was out there, and he was introducing himself. He was full of energy, like you said, the young Tyler, and he you could tell he had something, but I didn't know who he was like that back then. But yeah, he was out there, and he was, I mean, full of energy, very lively and stuff like that. And so yeah, and he's very like about his like who he is, like what his sexuality is, like all of that stuff is, he's super fluent about stuff. And so because I know at one time, what's the dude named Jared Carmichael, he had him on his show and kind of told him that he was in love with him, but he never did like reciprocate. He was like, I ain't finna talk about this on camera. Like, bro, you got a whole camera crew. Like, nah, we ain't doing that, bro. So it's but anyway, Tyler the creator, I will say I've never listened to his project. So I'm gonna have to pull it up just to see what's up.
Call Me If You Get, so my favorite one was the joint that he did, the Call Me If You Get Lost. That's the one that I really became a fan. But I remember seeing him win the MTV Video Awards or Music Award for Best New Artist over some people. And he jumped up and he was all over the stage, like, oh my gosh. And you could tell that he was like genuinely surprised. And listen, man, like but I never was like I didn't really listen to like Odd Future when they were all the group, but I did like Sid separately. Like when their whole group was a bunch of talented people though, bro. And I guess they did. I felt like, this is gonna sound weird, but I felt like I was too old. It's almost like it felt like me listening to Gunna now, right? It's like I'm too old for that. And that's kind of how it was back then, though, man. And now that he's older, I can appreciate his music probably a little bit more than what I thought I would have back then, though.
Yeah. All right. Is that it?
Yeah, what you got for the week, though, man?
For the week, still in the lab and just working, doing my thing, bro.
That's the work, huh?
Yeah. Oh, Friday. This Friday, I'm performing at the Oklahoma City People's Choice pre-show awards. I'll be performing out there, so I'm really excited about that. It's always cool when you one of the OGs still out here performing with the young kids, and you know what I'm saying. And so I can't wait to get out there and do something.
You down at you down the chin?
No, I'm gonna let Unc come out for
you
this.
You gonna get Unc out there, huh? That boy bringing Unc out there, boy.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring Unc out. I'm gonna just bring Unc on out. So I ain't worried about it.
I think that for me though, man, I'm back in the lab. I think the one thing I'm doing more than anything is I'm back on my writing. And so it's like for me trying to produce and then also record, and then it's just, I'm in phases where I'm having to do only one. And so I think that I've recorded. I mean, put this. I've made enough on the production side to where now I could just devote some time to just the writing aspect of it. And so I'm hoping that probably by the end of the week, I can wrap up a few songs writing wise, so that maybe by next week, I can just only focus on the recording though, man. So yeah. I'm pretty excited though about if these other ones work out how I expect for them to work out. These are definitely some ones that I think will be some keepers though, man.
Yeah, I'm about to go play my numbers too. About to try to win this 900 million. So
I about need that sounds like I need to be out there though, man.
As soon as we get off the pod, that's where I'm headed, bro.
I think I might join you on that one though, man. Let's get this music going so we can get these people home and get these numbers in.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time. The Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast.
If you
of all time.
smell what the rock